my name's Magenta. Thank you for joining me. I've made this video as a therapy for myself. It's 8 years today when my beloved mother passed away, and it's really only now that I can talk about her. She had dementia for a long time, and stomach cancer finished her off. She had dementia for so long that it's so difficult to remember her when she didn't have dementia. I remember her last summer. We were in the garden, it was July, a hot summer's day, and she said to me, "The sun doesn't shine anymore, does it?" She said, "I want the sun to shine on my back." And I looked at her and said, "The summer will be here soon, Mum." And I went inside and got a jacket and covered her up. I thought she's probably feeling cold. Her birthday was coming up in August, 18th of August. She was a Leo, feisty Leo, full of life. She used to be. And I remember there was a song in 1969, 1970 that she absolutely loved. It was very upbeat, and it was called Bad Moon Rising by Creedence Clearwater Revival. She absolutely loved this song, and she played it over and over again. And I said to my son, "Why don't we play it for her on her birthday and see if she remembers it?" So her birthday came, we played it, and she remembered it. And she looked up and she smiled, and there was a little twinkle in her eye, just like there used to be. And that was such a moving moment, I can't tell you. A few weeks later, she collapsed at home, rushed to hospital. By now she was just a bag of bones. She was just skin and bone, and she'd gone anemic, and they were going to give her 4 pints of blood. But they did a scan, and they found that she had a massive tumour the size of a grapefruit in her stomach. And they gave her 3 months. She never left the hospital after that. And the tumour had just spread everywhere. By now she didn't recognise anybody. I used to stand by that hospital door to her bedroom there and look at her, remembering how she used to be and what's happened. She didn't know who I was. She didn't know where she was. She'd say to me, "I don't think I'll go upstairs to bed today." And I'd say, "No, it's okay, Mum, you just stay down here." And she'd just look at me. Dementia is the slowest goodbye and the hardest goodbye you will ever say. Saturday morning, got a phone call, rushed to the hospital, and she'd already passed away. And it was exactly like the doctor said, 3 months, give or take a couple of days. seeing her laying there, she looked really contented. She had a contentment on her face, and she had like a smile, like a slight smile on her face, and she looked really rested, and I could tell that she was in a good place. All that pain had gone from her, and she was at peace. Because she always had like a worried look on her face all the time, especially that last year, like she had something on her mind all the time, always thinking of something. She always looked like she was worried all the time. And that had all gone now. It's all slipped away. But I went numb after her death. I couldn't cry at her funeral. I just turned into a zombie. I couldn't go back to her house. I never went back to her house to sort her things out. I just couldn't go there. I couldn't believe that this woman that I loved so much has gone from my life, who is my confidant, my best friend. I could talk to her about anything and everything, and I would never see her again. I just couldn't deal with it. But that numbness that sets in, I think it's a coping mechanism to help us get through it. And there's so much I want to say to her. I want to talk to her about so many things, but she's just not here. And I miss her so much. Six months after her passing, I lost somebody very special to me that I'd loved for over 20 years. And after that loss, I started losing my beloved dogs. I've always had rescue dogs, and I had two elderly dogs. One was 16 and the other one was 18, and I didn't want one to go and one to be left on its own. And I've always wanted a little chihuahua, so as a friend I bought one of my older dogs, the little chihuahua, just for company. And we were in the park one day with my Yorkie, with my neighbour's Yorkie. She had a Yorkie, my chihuahua. They were playing around and we were chatting away, and suddenly I heard a noise in the bushes. Eek, eek. And I said to my neighbour, I think Bonnie, her name was Bonnie, I called her Bonnie, I think Bonnie's hurt herself, I'm just going to go and see what's happened. And they were stuck together. I couldn't believe it. I remember it was a Saturday and there was a barbecue I had to go to, already running late for the barbecue, and this love action seemed to be taking forever. Found out later that you're supposed to throw a bucket of water over them, because I said to my neighbour, what do we do now? She said, I don't know, but apparently you're supposed to throw a bucket of cold water over them, but where do you find a bucket of water in the middle of a park? Anyway, the deed was done. Went to my barbecue, went to work Monday morning. I started thinking about it. I'm wondering whether she could be pregnant. Tuesday, I thought about it all day. Wednesday morning I called the vet, explained what had happened, and he said to me 99.9% chance that she's pregnant. And I said, how can that be? There was no show. He said to me, she's probably 99% chance she's pregnant. Then I said, well, how many could she possibly have? 2? She's tiny. 2, maybe 3 at the most. He said, I can't tell you. And the time came, and she ended up having 5 babies, 5 healthy babies. With her, it was 6, and I still had my older dogs. So I had 8 dogs altogether now. Poor little thing, she was exhausted. She didn't have enough milk for them. I took off 3 weeks off work, mixing up powder milk and feeding them round the clock every 3 hours. She was exhausted, I was exhausted. I thought I'd given birth. And then after about 4 weeks, people started saying, well, what are you going to do with them all? You can't possibly keep that many dogs. And I mentioned this to the vet, and he said, yes, if you keep them all, they're brothers and sisters, and they're all going to be fighting. This was all really starting to get me down. It was really turning into a dilemma. What am I going to do? How can I give them away? Then my son came over and he said to me, well, which one would you give away, Mum? How are you going to choose which one you're going to give away, if any? It's like, I thought it's going to be like giving away your grandchildren. Then I remembered what the vet said, and I thought, brothers and sisters fight, and nobody knows me better than I know myself. And I'm not a dog breeder. And I know for sure if I'd have given even one of them away, I would be worrying about them for the rest of my life. What's happened to them, whether they're having enough to eat, whether they're badly treated, whether they're still alive, and it just wasn't worth the bother. So I made the decision to keep them all. And when I made that decision, it was just a weight lifted off my shoulders. I felt so much better. They were hard work, I'm not going to lie, but I didn't regret it one bit. Taking them for walkies all at the same time was a bit of a problem, but we managed it. And we had a party, and sooner or later that party comes to an end. And it did, with the last one passing last April. Fifi was the last one to go. And for me personally, losing someone you love that's a human, or losing a beloved pet, is exactly the same. The pain is exactly the same. And it was a pleasure to have known them, but to never call their name again, to never hear them bark or look into their big brown eyes ever again, is hard to bear. I just want to stick my nose into their fur and smell them and squeeze them tight. Walking through life, we'll come across sad and challenging times, and grief can just consume us. And that pain and heartache, it never really goes away. We just put it away in that little box at the back of our mind so that we can continue with life. So whether you're a man or a woman, a problem shared is a problem halved. So don't keep it to yourself. Reach out. It's easy to pretend that everything's okay when really it isn't. I know that myself. So if you've been going through anything similar, I hope this video has been helpful to you. Feel free to like and comment so that we can help each other. Subscribe so you can be notified when my next video is out. I've left a couple of photos at the end of this video. So thank you for watching. Look after you, and I'll see you next time.